So many of us have often contemplated either picking up a cheaper 4x4 or should we just go all out and spend the money, do the monthly payment thing, or even a lease and build up a more expensive vehicle with more expensive parts, hoping that it's gonna work better or perform better out on the trails. When do we really need to spend all that extra money to get something that performs really well, is reliable, and isn't gonna break the bank at the same time? So then what we wanted to do is just break down the differences in the two different Tacomas that we have available to us. So we have Josh's 2008 Tacoma that we're gonna compare with TrailBuilt with our 2018 Tacoma TRD double cab that has a whole bunch of more high dollar, more high-end components on it. So we wanna take a look at what is the better value, or what's better for each individual's person's particular situations. Or is there even one that's better than the other? Is it really just circumstantial? So we want to take these different scenarios into consideration when we're looking at what direction we want to go with in our builds. Do we want to stay on the less expensive side? Or should we spend the extra money on the higher dollar parts? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at. Let's start with Josh's 2008 Tacoma TRD. I have a list in front of me of the things that it has on it that he's done to it. And I think, if I remember correctly, Josh paid maybe around $8,000 or $9,000 for his Tacoma, which heck of a good deal in my opinion, especially compared to today's market value on Tacomas. So his is a double cab. It's a TRD edition. It does have a 3-inch rough country basic lift, which is only $300, but then he went ahead and upgraded to the coilover strut setup for an extra $350, which you can find right on our website. That's TrailBuilt Offroad. And that total was about $650 for a 3-inch lift. Not too bad. And then as far as the front bumper, Josh has on it's an M-Fab. It's a gloss black 30-inch rigid E-Series with the light bars bumper for $900. So this is one area where personally, even though I like to stay as inexpensive as possible myself personally, I mean, I'm walking around with boots with holes in them, for example, because I don't like to spend a lot of extra money where I don't need to. But if it has anything to do with recovery, that's that scenario that plays into the safety aspect of off-roading. Do you go with something less expensive and take that risk that something might fail on you when you're really trying to get somebody pulled out of the mud, or maybe you're stuck in a very precarious situation and somebody goes to yank you out of that situation and the front bumper gives up because you bought something cheaper? Or do you spend the extra money and go with something that's going to be high quality, something that you know is going to hold up out on the trail no matter what you try to do to it? And that's where do you take that risk? Where do you take that balance? For me personally, I would spend the extra money on anything that has to do with hooking up a recovery strap or a recovery rope in any kind of situation. I wouldn't cheap out there, because then you're risking your safety and other people's safety and personal injury potentials, and a lot could go wrong there when you start skipping out on spending the extra dollar on the high quality stuff. Moving on, we have the 17 by 8.5 0mm Kansei off-road, the Rukus that are in a matte black with the Nitto Ridge grapplers and about a 33-inch tall tire. And total package was just over $2,700 from TrailBuilt. And again, with that $2,700, you're getting free mounting, free balancing, and if you live in any state in the lower 48, you're also getting free shipping. So that's not an additional cost on top of that. So with the front N-Fab bumper, the wheel and tire package, the $650 rough country 3-inch lift, and the road armor rear bumper being around $400, your total accessories, you're looking at about $4,500 in accessories. Enough to get you out on the trails, get you some ground clearance, have a halfway capable off-road vehicle, and only around $4,500, which I think is a pretty good deal, and of course plus the cost of the vehicle itself. So you can still not spend a whole ton of money, still have a lot of fun with it, still be capable out on the trails. To me, that's perfect. Then you probably leaves a little extra money for putting fuel in the vehicle, getting to the trails, maybe some recovery items or other additional items that you may want to put in your vehicle. But then there's the opposite end of the spectrum. There's the ones that they don't want to deal with maybe any mechanical issues with buying an older vehicle, or the maintenance items that may need to be done on an older vehicle, or even just the technological advances in having something a lot newer is worth that extra money that you're spending for a newer vehicle. And then not only that, but upfitting it with the high dollar, the high performance products like our 2018 Toyota Tacoma. Now, this Tacoma, our TrailBuilt Tacoma, was built before we even got our hands on it by the owner of the company. So we ended up purchasing it from him. So all the stuff was done before we got our hands on it. Otherwise, we may have done maybe like a cheap Tacoma build on a 2018 Tacoma or something like that. But regardless, this Tacoma, this 2018, is a TRD, so it's the same off-road package as Josh's Tacoma. It also is a double cab as well. Now this one has the Icon Vehicle Dynamics. It's a stage 10, 0 to 3.5 inch lift on it. It does have the 2.5 inch series extended travel shocks with the compression damping valve controls, the CDC adjustable valve controls, and remote reservoirs. And it has the Icon's RXT multiple rate springs in the back. And of course it does have the billet aluminum upper control arms and Icon's patented delta joints for that optimal flexibility. Total cost with this suspension lift, and we have it set right at about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches tops, and we're looking at $5,900. So with Icon's kit, you're getting a performance tuned suspension to that particular vehicle and that setup. It offers a little bit extra droop when you're going through the rocks or hitting the whoops. It has even the quality of the valving, the quality of the components. You're talking all high-end parts and components and finishes and valving and the whole works, right? So you're gonna get what you pay for. You're paying $5,900 for stage 10 kit. You're getting that optimal quality. You're getting the most performance out of that vehicle suspension that you possibly can with this kit. And if that's exactly what you're going for, if that's exactly what you want out in the trails, well, the old saying goes, you want to play, you got to pay, right? So worth it to some people, maybe not worth it to others, but if you're really looking for the best performance out of your newer vehicle, or even obviously older vehicles, Icon covers a bunch of different years of vehicles. So if you really want that optimal performance, maximize your vehicle's off-roading performance and even on-road performance, Icon, obviously a great kit to go with. And then on top of that, so not only the Icon Vehicle Dynamics kit, but it also has the RK Sport, the wide body kit, which is $2,000. And then it does also, on top of the wide body kit, does have the RK Sport Ram, the air hood, the V2 CF blister, it's called. So that's $1,500 extra. So total from RK Sport is $3,500. Then it also does have the bed cap on it. Very purposeful for some people. That's a $3,000 bed cap on it as well. So you can see the numbers are adding up really fast. On the front for recovery, it does have the Addictive Desert Design, the ADD off-road. It's the Stealth Fighter series front bumper with the winch mount. So that bumper it's obviously a very high quality bumper. I would never be afraid to hook a strap up to that thing and give it as much oomph as possible because it's going to hold up. It's an Addictive Desert Design. They have high quality components, bumpers, all kinds of stuff. But that front bumper alone is just shy of $2,000. So it's $1,940 retail. And then the rear bumper, same thing, high quality, Addictive Desert Design ADD off-road stealth fighter rear bumper, and that one's just shy of $1,600. And then as far as the winch, it just has a Smittybilt 10,000 pound winch. That ran about $600. And then for wheels and tires, it has TrailBuilt's exclusive, our Method MR305 in the red. And then that's a 17 by 8.5. And then the Canati Armor Hogs, that package there was about $2,500 with the spare. Whereas Josh on his Tacoma, he did not have the spare, but this package here, relatively good price on the set of 5 for $2,500. DV8 off-road roof rack for $540, and then the bed cap rails, the roof rails for $230. So total in accessories on the 2018 Tacoma, you're looking at about $19,800 in accessories. Either way, out in the trails, whether you're spending that extra money to get the looks you want, to get that performance you want, it's gonna pay back in dividends. The other point of that is, even if you don't spend all of that extra money and you still build a relatively inexpensive 4x4, that's also gonna pay back in dividends. So really the point of it is, do you really need, like, is it a need or a want? Do you really need all of those high dollar items, all of those extra accessories, all of those extra performance items to get the most bang out of the buck? Not really. But if you want your vehicle to perform the best, to do what you want it to do, to have it look the way you want it, you can still have a lot of fun off-roading cheaply. In fact, we're about to announce another little surprise. Not yet, I can't just say it just yet today, but another little surprise that's gonna play into that cheap budget build. So me personally, I like to try to keep everything as cheap as possible, and I don't want to use the word cheap, but as inexpensive as possible, except in those areas that can be a safety concern, because I want to be able to leave some extra money left over for when I break something. I'll have the funds to fix it, right? Or if I need something down the road and I want to build it on my vehicle, maybe have the extra funds for that. But everybody's different, every budget, every situation, how often you're using your off-road vehicle, what you want it to look like, all of those situations are gonna play into effect on whether you choose to spend the money or not. So that is really what we wanted to break it down into today. Do you have to spend all that extra money to build a high-end, high-performing machine? Not necessarily, but again, it depends on what you're using your off-road rig for. But you can get away with keeping it on the lesser expensive side. And all of these items here, guys, almost all of these items on here, you can definitely find right on our website. That's TrailBuilt Off-Road. And guys, make sure and let us know in the comments below what direction you would rather take with your build. Would you rather spend the extra money and get all those high dollar parts, high performing, good looking, whatever it may be? Or do you like to keep your build on the lesser expensive side and still try to build it to the way that you want it to perform? Definitely make sure and let us know in the comments below. And guys, if you liked today's video, remember to hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest videos. And guys, as always, we appreciate all of you for watching and all of your support. I'm Josh from TrailBuilt, and we'll see you guys out on the trails.